Hi there. I'm Barbara Sobel. Welcome to the MenoLounge. I'm the clinical nutritionist at MenoWell, and I'm usually here with Julie talking about all things nutrition and menopause. And Julie's not here today, so I'm going to be taking over the MenoLounge. And I've invited a dear friend of mine, Kathrin Dellago, to come on for a conversation about smart nutrition strategies to stay energized, balanced, and nourished, even as the holidays temptations start appearing. So I'm going to go ahead and invite Kathrin. Let me see if she's joined. Okay. Hi, Kathrin.
Hi, hello.
Hi. I'm always happy when this works.
So am I.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Let me just introduce you really quickly. Kathrin is a certified nutrition specialist and a functional medicine nutritionist located in Marin County in the Bay Area, just like I am. And she helps women find real world solutions to eat, live, and really feel their best, even when life gets chaotic. Kathrin has a really interesting background. She has a lifelong passion around food and well-being. She started out her career in finance and pivoted to earning a master's degree in human nutrition and functional medicine. She's originally from a small Alpine town in northern Italy, and she brings this very unique blend of science and old world tradition and wisdom to her work, reminding us that better health is often comes when we slow down, we live intentionally, and we nourish ourselves with real food. So welcome. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here, Barbara.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this topic. It seems really early to talk about holiday eating, but and especially where we live, it feels like the middle of summer. It's hot. It's it's sort of like summer's doing its second round with us. But the beginning of October, I am starting to feel overwhelmed by pumpkin everything. Even in my own house, I brought home some apples, and my husband said, "Oh, great, we can have apple crumble." And that wasn't really what I had anticipated doing with these apples. So we have this time of year when we have this bounty of really nourishing, especially produce. You know, it's squash season, it's apples and pears, there's beautiful mushrooms out. And pomegranates and things like that, and suddenly everything becomes really celebratory really fast. And as midlife women, temptation is kind of everywhere, and white knuckling it to really nourish ourselves is not a good strategy. It works for a minute or two, but it really doesn't work long term, and then we end up not really where we want to be. So there's that aspect, but then there's also an aspect of eating and celebrating and being with people and that sort of social connection, which is so important for us. And we don't want to give that up and say no. So we want to be able to still have those opportunities to gather with our friends and our family and really do celebrate, but also in a way that nourishes our body. So today, Kathrin and I want to talk a little bit about some of our top nutrition strategies to help keep us really stay balanced and energized and feeling good as the sort of really long holiday season appears. So does that kind of sum it up?
Yes, excellent. And I think that, here in our neighborhood, we saw that one of our neighbors already put the whole set of Halloween decorations out. So we are in plain
Yeah,
holiday season here, whether the weather cooperates or makes it feel like that or not, but it's
yeah.
definitely here.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's really a push and pull. Um, so let's just jump in. Like, do you have a top strategy? I know you do. If you had one thing that you were gonna tell women, really how to approach this holiday season, what's your top one thing?
Yeah, so I feel that while it's not always easy to be in control about what happens around us and where we are pulled in and want to participate, I do think that if we don't plan then ahead of time, then I think it's very easy to slip into the temptation. And so I know it sounds like a cliche, but the expression, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, I think sums it up really well. And so one of the ways that kind of helps me is to think ahead, whether it's an event I go to or I'm going to a family reunion or something where I know that the food that will be served might be a little bit more challenging compared to the mushrooms and all the great things that you mentioned earlier. Um, there are like simple ways that we can be prepared. One of them, and I think we talked about this in the past, is to try to offer to bring a dish.
Yeah,
That way you can make it exactly the way you want it with the ingredients that you like. And then you can also show your family or your friends that you can make some really yummy things without having to sacrifice all our health kind of
right.
objectives.
Yeah, I mean, one
Um,
of my favorite things to bring to an event is like a festive salad or vegetable dish, because I always feel like that's missing from especially like a potluck or a buffet type of situation. And there's so many things that you can do to make it bright and colorful and fresh tasting. And it can be really easy to make on your end as well, and it can travel well. So that's one thing that I really like to bring. And I, rarely find a hostess that doesn't want a little extra help. So I think
yeah,
that's great.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I think getting back to planning, when we look at our whole week and we can plan an individual day, but looking at your whole week and kind of what's coming up, it can help you to make different choices, throughout the week. So you might realize that you have multiple events coming up. And so maybe some of the other days you dial things down a little bit more
Yeah, that
so that
is
you have.
very,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I always think about it, as a parent, when we had toddlers, when I had toddlers, you didn't want to go anywhere unprepared, right? Because that would turn into a disaster. It could have the potential to turn into a disaster. And as adults, we sort of forget that planning can really be helpful.
that's right. That's right. In fact, I recently attended a dinner, and I always kind of my go-to, depending on the season, is like either like a kale salad or a salad with lots of different colors, whether it's like a watermelon radish or delicata squash, and like spice it up with a little bit, some pumpkin seeds that you might have roasted ahead of time. And so it's a way to bring something, participate, and find something that you like too.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing that I think we kind of talked about this before is I don't like to go to an event super starving. There's a philosophy out there. If you know you're gonna have a really big dinner, don't eat during the day or eat very minimally during the day or skip lunch. And I find that if I go to an event starving, it's very difficult to make smart choices because I tend to overindulge because I'm really, really too hungry.
It is so true, and it's it's important to keep in mind that even if you are at an event where there is a lot of food that might be tempting, that you can still stick to the basics that help you regulate your blood sugar, which is just so important to keep our energy balance. So when you do go to an event, try to have that balanced plate to start out, which is like half vegetables, a quarter protein and a
Yeah.
quarter of some starchy vegetables. And if you get that protein and fiber down to start, even if you end up to indulge, which is okay, like you don't have to nail it 100% of the time, like it's
Yeah.
okay to indulge, then at least you know that your body is gonna be better at absorbing that blood sugar in a more kind of regular regulated way as opposed to get a
Absolutely.
huge spike.
Right, absolutely. So going first for that protein and fiber combination, with the heavy on vegetables really can set you up. It helps stabilize your blood sugar. It gives you that energy. It nourishes you. And then there is still room to have some play food.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And I think that that same approach to the kind of a balanced meal, I also tell my clients if they travel. There are lots of restaurants out there now where you can be very thoughtful in putting together a meal that
Hmm.
is not, that is a bit more balanced.
Yeah. And, I mean, I find that asking questions in restaurants can be really helpful. Um, sometimes going for two appetizers can be a way to go instead of something a little bit more traditional. Sharing things can be another way to go.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, But bringing it back to the holiday dinner, I think that it might be worthwhile to talk a little bit about how to approach the dessert table. Like,
Yeah.
you have all your favorites out there and you want to go, you hopefully have at least satiated yourself with that, starving hunger that you came in with, or that you hopefully did not come in with. But I kind of try to tell my clients that it's okay to pick something, it's okay to indulge, but you don't have to eat it all. You don't have to feel that you have to try everything, because when it comes to sugar, there's a dose dependent approach. So even if you have a bite of it, that's great. You don't have to eat the whole slice. You can
Right.
share it with somebody,
Yeah.
sharing dessert with your friend. Like that's a good way to not to overindulge and then maybe not feel ideal the next day.
Yeah. And I think one really important way to do that is to eat it really slowly and savor it so you really can enjoy it. And, this is a time of year where we really have special seasonal things. And to be able to really enjoy it and slow down makes a really big difference. And we see that when we eat slowly, we eat way less, just naturally. I particularly find it when we eat something sweet, it tastes sweeter. So we kind of have had enough a little bit earlier when we eat it more slowly.
That's true, because
Yeah.
otherwise, when we just wolf it down, we don't even give our brain the time to send that message to us that they're actually satiated enough. We
Yeah.
just don't pay attention and eat.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple other things that kind of are related to that. I find that really dialing down your sleep habits during this period of time as much as possible. I mean, I know for most midlife women, that's a challenge anyway. But the better night's sleep we get, the more rested we are during the day, and we're not out there looking for things to give us energy. And when we don't get enough sleep, late afternoon, evening, we start having cravings. And that might be for caffeine, it might be for sugar, it might be for starchy carbs. And that can significantly add a lot of calories to people's day. And they're it's there's a if we're sleeping enough, we don't have that desire in the same way. So I think that's another thing, another piece of that kind of mindfulness, is, and I know it's challenging. It's certainly challenging for me, especially, if I go to bed late one night and then I have something the next night, or just can't sleep well. So
Yes, and this leads me to think about one of the kind of main culprits that impact our sleep, which is alcohol. And
Yeah.
that goes with these gatherings as well. So, Barbara, what do you think? Like, what is your approach about
Yeah.
alcohol when you go to an event?
So, I make a decision. For me, alcohol, I don't sleep as well when I have it. I certainly like to partake sometimes, but I usually make a pretty conscious decision if it's worth it to me. I kind of weigh what I have going on the next day. I also know for me, I tend to let my um, you know guard down a little bit. So I tend to crave a little bit more sweets when I've had a glass of wine or a cocktail or something. So I'm just very intentional about it. And I kind of make a decision before I go. I think there are a lot of really great alternatives out right now. Can you not hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you. I
There.
don't know.
Okay,
Sorry,
great.
something
Yeah,
happened.
I mean, there are lots of strategies about reducing alcohol. Certainly things like there's tons of mocktails that are very popular, very celebratory, very beautiful. Um, Doing alternating an alcoholic drink and a glass of water or sparkling water or something like that, back and forth can be a good strategy. And I'm not. I know it affects me, um, so I always go into a situation weighing what I want to do. What about you?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's in the moment, it's so easy to be tempted, but it's not something that will
Uh-oh, I can't hear you now. Hang on, Catherine. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, something
Yeah,
happened.
you're back now. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So what I'm trying to do is be intentional, and I like to still make it festive by either finding some bitters. Like right now, they have like these fabulous bitters at the farmers market, and you mix that up with some sparkling water, and maybe like throw in some blueberries or something to make it look festive. And I also feel that you don't have to make a big deal out of the fact that you don't drink. And I think that
Yeah.
sometimes helps to just kind of slide by and not waste the attention because other people, you don't want to necessarily dwell on long conversations on why you don't drink and make other people feel bad. But you can totally alternate. I think that's a great way to
Yeah.
try to reduce the amount of alcohol and still have fun and have something in your hand and
Yeah.
focus on the conversation versus on the consumption.
Right, exactly. I'm so glad you brought up bitters because one of the things bitters do, I mean, they taste delicious, but they also help us with our digestion. So it can be really nice to have something like that before you eat, you know, some holiday food because it really can help you process it in your body so you feel a little better.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, that's a
You get
great
a two
great
for one in
suggestion.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. What about, okay, so we're talking about alcohol. What about hydration? How do you feel hydration fits into all of this?
It was the next thing on my list here because it's so easy to forget to drink. I think the statistics is something like 70% of us Americans are not hydrated well enough. And
Wow.
so, whether we drink throughout the day enough or whether we are, drink at the event instead of alcohol, one thing that I'm sure we addressed before, in our conversations is that you don't necessarily want to drink it all this water that you need while you're eating because sometimes it can slow down and dilute your stomach juices. And so
Yeah.
drink plenty of water, but drink it away from the actual meal. So you don't want to get into the festivities already dehydrated. Like make a point on the day while you prepare for the dinner to drink enough so you come in well hydrated. What
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think one of the things that we forget about hydration is when we are even minimally dehydrated, we get tired and it saps our energy. So it's important to really hydrate during the day. that doesn't just mean drinking water, herbal tea, even like some brothy soups can be a great way to hydrate because you can get, lots of other nutrients in there too.
Yeah, exactly. Soups. It's soup season.
It's soup season. Yeah, not quite where we are, but it is soup season. So I think, we've talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about we talked about planning, hydration, sleep, not going to an event too hungry, eating mindfully, kind of building our plate with protein and fiber first, um, not going straight for the sugar, volunteering to bring something, alcohol, hydration, not going um, starving to an event. Sort of the last thing I can think of is movement and how that might fit into all of this. Any thoughts?
Many thoughts.
Yeah.
Where do I start? I feel like, while sleep is the foundation to all of these different pillars, I think movement brings it all together. And
Yeah.
so, whether you make it part of your everyday, which I hope you already are, like when it comes to an actual meal and when you eat, when you indulge and you have a big meal and you eat a lot, again, science has shown that if you move afterwards, it really slows down the absorption of your sugar. And those are simple things like you can sit at the table and do calf raises while you
Yeah.
eat if you don't want anybody to see it.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to have like a party trick, then you can be the one who, after your dessert, is gonna have everybody do some lunge, some squats.
Squats. Yeah.
30 squats.
30
Um,
squats. Yeah.
yes, and if you want to be a little bit more gentle and community building, then you get everybody at the table to do a walk around the block after you
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah.
And
Even
that again,
parking a little farther away can make a big difference because you have to walk, right?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's hard. I mean, um, the whole society here, I feel our environment, just to bring, well, because you bring up a car, is built for driving in and
Yeah.
out everywhere. It's hard to drive, to park somewhere away. You have to overcome this way of saying, oh, let me see if I can get the parking lot right next to it. But you should
Right.
really, as you say, do something good for you by giving up that parking spot for somebody else and park far away and force yourself to walk.
To take a little walk. Yeah. Yeah. And it could be, it's cold this time and it gets dark early. So it's not always what we want to do, but it makes a really big difference.
Yeah, and going outside, even when it's a little bit cold, it's very good for our physiology, right? Like that
Yeah.
whole hormesis, like a little bit of good stress. We live in an environment where everything is tightly regulated within a very small band of making us feel just right. So
Yeah.
going out when it's cold, it's great for us, for our thyroid, for our physiology, for everything, for our circadian rhythm in the morning, but especially after we've eaten, kind of to go
Right.
out, and
Exactly. Yeah.
overcome that fatigue that makes you velcroed onto your seat.
Right. 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 So bring your walking shoes in a little tote bag. Because that can make a really big difference. And it really can help us digest our food. And it doesn't have to be long. It really
Yeah.
can be something short. And it's a really nice way to chat with someone. When you're moving, there's a different kind of communication.
Yeah, and I think that you bring up a very important point. I think that one way for me to really focus during the holiday season is to focus on the connection with the people that is away from sitting and having a meal together. Like
Yeah.
really, whether it is, leading you to eat slowly because you want to talk to somebody versus just kind of wolfing something down or taking some, walking, suggesting to go for a walk. I think it's really that connection that we thrive and that so that we strive for. And so that's really high on my list of what I want to focus on during the holiday season.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important and we forget. It gets so mashed up in activity and chores and things to do and places to be. And we we forget that, so that really like mindfulness, attentiveness, thinking about what's important can make a big difference in
Exactly.
our
Yeah.
whole experience, right? Right. and what foods we choose. I think this has been really helpful. I'm just looking to see if there are any questions or comments from anyone who's joined. If you have anything, anyone who's listening in, or any questions, put them in the chat. So Kathrin, I think we have a pretty good, I don't see any questions coming in. I think we have a pretty good list. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Well, I think that just kind of to bring it all together, what I would say is to just be graceful with yourself. And so
Yeah,
when you go attend an event, we try our best, but if sometimes, it slips out of our control, it's okay. Tomorrow is a new day. And,
yeah.
we make something like 200 food choices a day. It's okay. Tomorrow you can do better, and we'll take what matters is what you do every day and not what you did in the one holiday event. So kind of work on that being optimal to support your health.
Yeah, that mindset. And we can still be healthy, and there's still room for fun foods and things that we really want to just enjoy and have the pleasure of eating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Couldn't say it better.
Yeah. Thanks. So Kathrin, thank you so much for joining me today here on the MenoLounge. Where can people find you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am on Instagram, the Dellago NutriHealth.
Mhm.
And I also have a website, Dellago with 2L, NutriHealth.com. And happy to get in touch with anybody or answer any questions that you might have. I'm always excited and thrilled to work and help my fellow humans kind of live a better and more optimal life.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Kathrin. This is so helpful. I love being able to do the back and forth and really talk with you. And, your emphasis on slowing down and enjoying things makes such a difference. I think many of us, myself included, get in the middle of things and forget that. And it's so good to be reminded.
It's easy. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you so much. I will look forward to talking with you soon. And please check out Catherine's Instagram and her website.
Thank you.
Thank you.